Hey YouTube, POD7 here with another comic book haul. This one's kind of late, but I've been kind of going back and forth on a lot of projects really, but I also had a huge haul right after this one that I'm going to do an extra long video for, so keep an eye out for that, but I decided to go ahead and just make this short one because it isn't completely dominated by one character, so gonna go through the modern stuff as is tradition, I guess, on this series. So here we have Black Canary number 9. I didn't take pictures of the modern stuff before I put them away, so you just get random Google search results here. Annie Wu is completely killing it on this series, and DC would be absolutely insane to not have her on a book going forward if Black Canary gets dropped for the sake of Rebirth or whatever it's called. So hopefully she gets to stick around and do some more amazing art. And if you haven't checked out Black Canary already, it's definitely a different take on the character, and the art style is 90% worth it. Like, sometimes it's confusing, and they kind of do a pseudo Watchmen thing where there's text, like parts of there's like splash pages where it's a kind of like taking off of zines and zine culture with like underground punk magazines and stuff. So I could do without that, but again, it's just a stylistic choice with the storyline. Kind of the soft reboot of Black Canary that they did. So, but yeah, definitely check it out if you like Black Canary. Of course, that you see here, Batgirl has shown up, and they'll both be teaming up again because there's going to be a new Birds of Prey book again. So it would be nice if Annie Wu just got pushed over onto that book and made it amazing instead of, well, I shouldn't say anything since there hasn't been any previews, but I just have a feeling something's going to go wrong with that book. So next up, skipping over some stuff there, we got Catwoman 51. I probably should have included this in the next video because, well, cat's out of the bag, but I bought a ton of Catwoman issues, so basically a fairly long Catwoman video coming up. But at this point, I'm back into the phase again where I'm just kind of getting Catwoman just because I want to support Catwoman as a solo series. I'm not particularly interested in what's going on in the story. Like, even just looking at this issue, I can't even tell you what it was about, even though I looked through it, so probably because I'm also like remembering all of Volume 3 that I just read, basically, so but yes, very soon I hope to get a separate box for Catwoman, and I'll have all of my Catwoman books in the same collection and not split between two different bookshelves as they are right now. And then we have I should have wrote this down. Gotham Academy, still going great. They've been doing a couple, I guess you'd call them anthology issues, where they have different writers and artists come on and do short stories, like 3 or 4 short stories throughout the whole issue, which was great because Annie Wu got to draw some for issue 16, I think it was. It's a great young adult book, and unfortunately it's under DC, so it's probably going to get the axe before the end of the year, I would imagine, because it's new and it's different, and they don't like that. So, I mean, fingers crossed, but I'm not going to hold my breath either. So, another new book, The Legend of Wonder Woman. I'm kind of on the fence about this series, of course, the train decides to show up. I've been waiting over an hour hoping that there wouldn't be a train. I live like 30 yards away from a train track, maybe 50 yards, but they come at all hours of the night. I should have known. The art in this series is great. I love the slow pace and the getting to know the society of Themyscira a little bit better. They haven't covered that in seemingly forever, besides ridiculous melodramatic soap opera stuff involving Diana's real father and all that garbage. But this is just kind of I would almost call this All-Star Wonder Woman. Like if you read All-Star Superman, it's like if they did a series like that, but for Wonder Woman, and took their time and told the whole story and not just, one of the best parts about All-Star Superman was his origin was basically retold in one page. But with Wonder Woman, they haven't retold her origin story 8,000 times, so it's cool to see it again in a new modern context, but also at the same time involving an older. It harkens back to the old Wonder Woman, basically. So I've been reading that. Here you see Wonder Woman as a young girl. They covered her being taught by, I can't remember the character's name right now, but taught her how to fight, which was pretty cool. And here you see number 3, which is a really good issue. But one of the best issues, I hope to God it's next up on this thing that I have here. But yes, good. Edda and the Holiday Girls. It's one of those things where you look at this cover and you're like, ugh. But when you read it, it's a punch in the face, man. It's so cool to see something so familiar, but also tried and true, I guess is the term I'm looking for. But absolutely fun is the underlying score with these characters. So it's great to see them, and the way Edda and Wonder Woman interact is great, and I hope she gets to stick around for quite a while. Next up, Poison Ivy, Cycle of Life and Death. It's a great examination of Poison Ivy, kind of in a spot of limbo in the New 52. She's not really a villain. She's not really a hero. She's not a thief. She's a scientist, but she's also an eco-terrorist. So, she doesn't really fit in anywhere at the moment. So it was, I would like to think this was pitched, because I really hate giving Dan DiDio any credit, but of course he had to sign off on this. So, I guess kudos to him, kudos to the team on this book. A great miniseries. It's a shame it's almost over. The first issue had Harley Quinn show up, and issue 4 has Catwoman show up, which was kind of a nice semi reunion between the Sirens there. It would be cool if number 6 was a jumping off point and introduced a new Sirens, either miniseries or bi-monthly or something like that. But I'm enjoying this. There was a great reveal in issue 4 that I'll talk about in the next video. So get ready for that. Yeah, I actually really like this cover too. It's not indicative of how it looks on the inside, which I think is the problem with a lot of comic book covers at DC right now. Is it just looks like a panel that they boosted the size and put the title over it. with the exceptions being Black Canary and Catwoman, and that's about it, really, that I can think of off the top of my head, anyway. Which doesn't help because I only follow like 4 or 5 books from DC, and every time I go to the comic shop, I just see Superman, Batman, Superman, Batman, Superman, Batman, and these headers at the top advertising the movie really do a number on me, where I'm just like avoiding everything I see with that on there, basically, because I'm tired of it. I'm tired of Batman. I'm tired of Superman, and literally any character, I've covered this before, but literally any character surrounding them is infinitely more interesting to me at this point. So basically I'm calling for a Lois Lane comic, an Alfred Pennyworth comic, Lucius Fox comic, Jimmy Olsen comic, you know, if Jimmy Olsen is even around anymore, I don't know. Like, what's amazing is, I'm going on a rant here while looking at this Poison Ivy cover, but Detective Comics is going to be a teen book going forward with Rebirth. I hope they stick with that for a very long time because it sounds really interesting, which means I'm actually picking it up, which I never thought I would ever do ever again, besides getting appearances of Batwoman. But I am, and it's going to be twice a month. So hopefully they don't raise the price to $3.99 or something, because that's going to get expensive. The last issue of We Are Robin I will ever buy. I don't know. It just feels like they went wrong with this series somewhere. They revealed that Alfred put it together, and then they just started fighting Jokers, I guess. It really felt like they should have splintered into their own thing by now, and, like, I don't know, it's just hard to explain. Like, issue 9 and 10, I just really could not get into at all, and ended up just kind of glazing over and flipping the pages to get to the next comic I was going to read, so I went ahead and canceled my pull for this series, unfortunately, because I had high hopes for it, and I like supporting new ideas and young like comics for young people, like specifically for young people, like stuff like Tiny Titans and Owly and stuff like that. I really think should be held up more often. I'm actually doing hand signs now, that's how much I feel about this. But I just can't do it when it's, it feels like this has been kind of abandoned in a way. I don't know if that's the right term, but We Are Robin, great idea, decent execution, just kind of left on life support after Damian came back, basically, so hopefully the team can be repositioned to another book, maybe an Outsiders book. I don't know I doubt there's any plans for that, but like a teenage Outsiders book would be really cool, I think, but who knows. So, moving on. This is the beginning of this haul. I don't know why there's a white strip on the side of the screen right now, but this is Catwoman Volume 2, number 4, a sign of things to come for the next video. Mostly Volume 2, if you're going to collect Catwoman, Volume 2 is going to be almost entirely based off of covers, in my opinion, because I read 1 through 10, and it was, it might not be fair to say abysmal, considering it was a different time period, and pacing and stuff was different back then, but good God. This was really bad, so I'm picking it up for the sake of the covers, mostly, and also because I really enjoy Catwoman as a character. She was the first fictional villain that I ever liked and wanted to see more of, which when you're a little kid that's really confusing, and because of the animated series, of course. And there's been lots of stories where she's come in and knocked it out of the park, or whoever was writing her knocked it out of the park, and I fell out of love with Catwoman after the animated series kind of went away for a while, and I got into Huntress because of the 90s comics and JLA. And then there was a story where Prometheus attacked the Watchtower and handled every single villain, or every single hero on the tower perfectly. But what he didn't count on was Catwoman, or Selina Kyle, going to the show off the Watchtower Day, kind of a public relations thing that the Justice League had to do to show that they weren't trying to be gods overlooking the earth, and so Selina Kyle showed up hoping to steal something, and she ended up saving the day by whipping him in the nuts. And he had zero data on Catwoman because she was still a villain at that time. So that just blew me away, and I wish there was more condensed stories like that in DC Comics today, which I think they're going to try to go for, it sounds like, with Rebirth in some ways, but we'll see what happens. We got some more here. 5. Sorry for the blurry pictures. I just kind of was taking pictures with one hand and moving comics with the other off of a stack here, so this was involved in Night Quest when John Paul Valley became Batman with that really weird suit. And yeah, as you can see, just it speaks for itself. Zephyr, I don't think she ever really did anything outside of Catwoman. Actually, now that I think about it, she might have appeared as like a background character in Salvation Run. But otherwise, this was my first time ever seeing her, as far as I know, so that was pretty interesting. And for some reason, I didn't pick up issue 9 the day that I did this haul, so but I did pick it up afterwards. But I kind of like this one a lot because it has her hair frizzed up, and it seems like a lot of the time they spend, because her body is almost entirely covered up by these tigers, and so they had to put some kind of detail into the picture, and so they put a lot of effort into the hair. And even though it's for a really contrived reason, I thought it was really cool just to see Catwoman in kind of a different light, because there's not really that much focus on her hair even back in these days. So, but Adam Hughes changed that, and you'll see that in the next video, I think. Next up, Catwoman Guardian of Gotham. This is a 2-part mini Elseworlds tale where Catwoman is the main hero of Gotham, not Batman. What ends up happening is Batman is a villain that comes in and starts taking his goal is to just take out all the other villains so that he can control Gotham by himself. And so Catwoman has to partner with Jim Gordon to take on this new murderous Batman. And the art, like a lot of other minis for Catwoman, unfortunately, excuse me, not the best. It's not the worst, but there's a really bad one that I I can't even remember what the title of it was, but it was a singular, like, standalone story. And I pulled the cover out and I showed it to the comic shop, Dave, the comic shop owner. I was like, should I get this? Because it was so bad. But it's basically one of two things that I could pick up that I just didn't for whatever reason. So I think next time I go down there, I'll have to pick it up. I kind of like this cover a lot. It makes me think of like a Halloween What If or something for some reason. Because I don't think Batman is a vampire. I didn't. If that was implied or anything, or I skipped a page where he kills somebody like a vampire, then my bad. But I don't think he's a vampire in this story. Also, the absurdity of the cat logo, or the cat signal, is kind of funny. I was going to make a joke about Final Fantasy with all the belt buckles, but that's just not my area, man. And boom. Was super hyped to get this. Catwoman #1, or Catwoman Volume 3 #1, excuse me. Ed Brubaker, Darwyn Cooke doing the covers. This brought Catwoman back out of a slump that she had fallen into. Besides the story I talked about with Prometheus, she hadn't really done anything relevant, and her own series was canceled 2 or 3 years before this came out. And so to have this new portrayal of the character with short hair and an all-black suit, and it's more closer to what you would imagine a thief would wear, like all black. Also, the fact that it doesn't look like her body is airbrushed was a huge thing, apparently. I don't remember, because I wasn't into comics at the time, but one of the other things that I kind of really like, I don't know if it's intentional or not, but the lighting over her eyes and the arch of her eyebrow is extremely reminiscent of Andrea Beaumont in Mask of the Phantasm. There's a scene where it's just a close-up on her eyes, and it has almost the exact same angle of lighting over the eyes. So if that's intentional, then bravo, Darwyn Cooke. But otherwise, it's just kind of a cool happenstance, and was happy to have every single Catwoman #1 picking this up. So now we're moving on to Batwoman Quest. The quest continues. Mostly some fringe stuff left. Got 6 or 7 issues of Injustice still to pick up. We're into year 4 and year 5 now. Scribblenauts Unmasked #1. Apparently she was in. And I'm trying to think of what else. I can't remember at the moment, but she's definitely in Bombshells. the one monthly issue, or one of 2 monthly issues that she's in all the time now. Basically, Injustice and Bombshells. And then starting with Rebirth, she'll be in Detective Comics. Hopefully every issue. We'll see what happens, but yeah, just, I mean, I would rather people think that it's just a misogynistic niche thing at this point, because if that's what sells the book, then that's what sells the book and keeps it afloat. Because in reality, it's a really great series with all female heroes. Amanda Waller is incredible, as you can see there on the cover. Batwoman is I would almost say she's the linchpin of this book. And then you've got Big Barda and Dr. Light are a couple all of a sudden, which is, I don't know where the connection is there, but it was cool to see. I would really think it would be awesome if Batwoman ran into Renee somewhere out in the field. I don't think that's going to happen, but and Supergirl and Stargirl have had some pretty cool moments in this series. So if you haven't picked up Bombshells, the writing is great. The art is amazing. It's not all just pin-up stuff. Like, just pick up the first issue of Bombshells and look at Batwoman's story in there. And it's just so completely different from anything else I've read recently. Which is to say that I haven't read any Marvel, so it's entirely possible there's a book almost exactly like this, which is fun and colorful and all female cast basically. And but I did try A-Force, believe it or not, and I just could not understand anything that was going on and didn't know who any of the characters were, and they didn't do a good job of explaining who they were, so I had to drop that. So, pick up story. Moral of the story: pick up Bombshells. Just do it. And I finally got the hardcover. I've completed my hardcover collections. Hardcover trades collection is what I was hoping to say. With Volume 2 and Volume 3. The back of Volume 3 has a really cool Wonder Woman, Batwoman picture. Because this was the world's finest arc, which they should definitely make into an animated movie someday. And then, of course, Volume 4. Volume 5 and Volume 6 don't have hardcovers, so I'm just going to wait till I have a bunch of money, or like, if I see all 6 volumes in softcover or paperback at like a store and I had the money, I'll pick them up there, but otherwise I'm going to wait for a while and pick them all up on Amazon at the same time. I don't know if I'm going to get 2 copies of Volume 5 and Volume 6 to sit with the hardcovers and then have a separate softcover part on my shelf or not, but we'll see what happens. And this is what my hardcover, or my collected trades, whatever you want to call them, shelf looks like at the moment. Just a quick rundown. We got Batman Detective from Paul Dini, Batman Harley and Ivy from Paul Dini and Bruce Timm and others. Since it's the deluxe edition, there's some other comics in there that I think were written by other people. Batman Hush from Jeff Loeb. I'm a huge mark for Jeff Loeb, so as you can tell by the rest of them. Batman Little Gotham I got because my brother got it for me, but I already have Batwoman's appearances in single issues as well, so I just decided to keep it because it was a gift, and I mean it's cool to have the other issues that are in there. Batman, the Joker's Last Laugh. I don't even remember what happened in that book, to be honest. Batman, the Killing Joke. Of course, what's there to even say about it at this point? I'm looking forward to the movie. That's about everything else has been said at this point. And of course, you have the Jeff Loeb Tim Sale trilogy of Long Halloween, Haunted Night, and Dark Victory. I have Dark Victory signed by Tim Sale. I doubt I'll ever get Jeff Loeb to sign it, because he is doing much bigger things at the moment. All 4 hardcovers of Batwoman. And then I have Black Canary and Zatanna, Bloodspell, which was by Paul Dini, Ghost Batgirl, tie-in, or not tie-in, but a crossover with Dark Horse or Image, I can't remember, but I just picked that up with store credit that I had left over, and I don't like having, like a $5 credit left over. So, All-Star Superman Volume 1. For some reason, I never picked up Volume 2. I had all the issues of Volume 2, but I traded those in ages ago, so I should pick up Volume 2. Superman for All Seasons. by Loeb and Sale. Again, that's probably my favorite Superman story ever. Just barely edging out All-Star Superman, which barely edges out Red Sun, which is right there next to it. And of course, what trade shelf would be complete without Watchmen? And this is actually an older copy of the Watchmen. It still has the old DC logo on there, which is awesome. I miss the old DC logo. And finally, Batwoman Series 1 Figure 13 of the Crisis action figure line. One of two action figures of Batwoman so far. The other one is in the 52 figure line, unless you count mini-mates as action figures. This is the lineup that was in that series. We got Batman, Power Girl, Batwoman, The Question, Wildcat, and Star Sapphire. I just took this because I thought it was cool to have the power score up there, and her special abilities are fighting and weapons, basically. I thought that was pretty funny. Some cool stats. I wish I had the Batman figure so I could compare. I'm sure the Batman figure is like plus 10 to everything else, even magic power for no reason. But this is what the shrine is looking like these days. I need to dust very badly, I know, don't worry about it. I already have a can of air to spray down the Kotobukiya statue with, so don't worry. The 52 figure is like $50 on Amazon, so it's going to be a while before I ever pick that up. And the biggest statue of Batwoman there is still $100 in most places. So definitely not going to pick that up. And okay, that's it. Next video will be pretty long. This one was pretty long anyway, but I imagine the next video will be quite long because I have a lot to say about Adam Hughes and Catwoman, and there's just a lot of comics to go through. So thanks for watching, guys. I'm trying to put out more videos during downtime between making my game, so as to keep my motivation up, so I don't get stuck in the trap of just watching videos all day like I had last year. So yeah, this has been POD7, and I'm signing out.